The truth about success is simple but profound. It's attractive, yes, but it's not free. Success doesn't come just because you want it, or because you wish for it, or because you sit and hope it will arrive at your doorstep. No, success demands something from you. It has a price. And sooner or later, you'll have to decide. Are you willing to pay it? Are you willing to sacrifice, to persist, to work when it's inconvenient, to give your absolute best when it would be easier not to? You see, success is possible, but it's not guaranteed. And for those who refuse to pay the price, success will always remain just a dream, just out of reach. Now, here's something important. The price of success isn't always immediate, and it isn't always obvious. Sometimes you pay it in the early years, late nights, long hours, weekends spent developing yourself when you could have been relaxing, building skills when your friends were out having fun. Other times you pay later when you look back and realize, I've coasted, I've taken it too easy. And now the price is higher than I imagined. Make no mistake, the price for success must be paid. Whether it's paid in discipline, in time, in effort, or in patience, it's a price that every successful person has been willing to pay. Anything worthwhile, anything you're proud of, anything you can look back on and say, I did that, I accomplished that, required effort, sacrifice, and commitment. We know this deep down, yet we still wish for an easier way. That's human nature. We're wired to seek the path of least resistance. But let me tell you something. The easy way robbed you. It robs you of the pride, the confidence, the growth, and the deep satisfaction that come from earning your success. You see, success isn't just about the goal. It's about the person you become in the process. That's where the real magic happens. It's in the character you build, the discipline you develop, the resilience you sharpen, and the mental toughness you grow when you look at life and say, I will keep going no matter how tough it gets. And no one is born with that kind of strength. You have to learn it. You have to work at it. And you have to develop it every single day. Now, here's the key. We're all going to pay a price. The question is, which price do you want to pay? The price of discipline or the price of regret? Let me remind you, discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. Discipline might feel tough in the moment. Waking up early, staying late, going the extra mile, it's uncomfortable, yes. But the rewards are priceless. Regret, on the other hand, doesn't weigh much at first. It's quiet. It sneaks up on you. But one day you wake up and realize you missed your shot. You didn't pay the price. And that weight, it's crushing. Discipline asks you to say no, not today, to things that are easy, that are fun, that are tempting. And at first it doesn't seem like much, just small sacrifices, small decisions, day by day. But regret is a heavy burden. It's the weight you carry when you look back and realize you could have done more. You could have been more. You could have tried harder. Imagine two people standing on a cliff, looking out over a valley filled with opportunities. One of them is filled with hope, excitement, anticipation. The other is burdened, weighed down by mischances, by hesitation, by regret. What separates them? Simple. One paid the price up front, the price of discipline, the price of effort, the price of focus. The other delayed, avoided the discomfort, and now carries the heavier load, the cost of regret. You see, life is fair about this. We all pay a price. The difference is we get to choose which price we pay. I still remember the day I was introduced to personal development. I didn't have much. In fact, I had very little. I was a farm boy. Modest means, modest dreams, no real direction. But I had a hunger. I had a desire to succeed. And then I met my mentor, a remarkable man, Mr. Schaff. One day he looked me in the eyes and said, Jim, if you want to be successful, you're going to have to change. Now, at the time, that was tough to hear. Change. Me. I thought I was doing just fine. But I wasn't fine, I was stagnant. You see, I had the desire, but I didn't have the disciplines. And Mr. Schaff helped me see it. If I wanted to rise above where I was, if I wanted to reach new heights, I had to be willing to grow, to improve, to change. And that change, that was the price I had to pay. Mr. Schaff also taught me something else, that success doesn't respond to wishes, hopes, or demands. No, success responds to effort. Success is attracted to the person you become. Success comes when you deserve it, not when you demand it. How do you deserve it? By becoming more disciplined, more valuable, more knowledgeable, more capable. And yes, that takes time. It takes work. It takes persistence. And that's why so many people quit. You see, there are no shortcuts to lasting success, no magic formulas, no overnight solutions. And that's the challenge. Many people aren't willing to pay the price. They're not willing to put in the time, the effort, or the discipline. But those who say, I'll do what it takes, they discover something remarkable. They discover that the journey itself shapes them. And by the end of that journey, they're not the same. They're stronger. They're wiser. They're better. People often ask me, Jim, what's the secret to success? And here's what I tell them. There is no secret. Success isn't hiding from you. It's not locked away. It's right there in plain sight. It's in every book that teaches you the principles of discipline. It's in every story that inspires you to keep going. It's in every failure that teaches you resilience. Success is all around you. But here's the thing, it's up to you to do something about it. The knowledge is out there. The opportunities are out there. The question is, will you go after them? Will you pay the price? Will you take the steps? Because if you will, success is waiting for you. Everything out there. But let me tell you something, they're not going to come knocking on your door. No, you have to go to them. You have to make the decision to take action, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's challenging, even when every fiber of your being says, not today, it's easy, isn't it? To look at successful people and think, well, they had it easy. They had the resources. They had the connections, but here's the truth. Every successful person you admire paid a price. Every single one of them went through something that tested them, pushed them, and made them wonder, is this really worth it? And yet they kept going. They pushed forward. Why? Because they understood something important. Setbacks, challenges, and obstacles aren't roadblocks. They're the road. They're part of the journey. They're what you go through to become the person capable of handling success. I remember a time when I was struggling in business. It felt like everything was against me. Bills were piling up. People were doubting me. Even friends, good friends, were saying, Jim, maybe it's time to quit. And I'll admit, in those moments, I was tempted to throw in the towel. I thought maybe this just isn't for me, but then I remembered something my mentor, Mr. Schaff, told me. He said, Jim, don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. What a powerful lesson that was. You see, wishing it were easier doesn't change anything. Wishing it were easier doesn't pay the bills, it doesn't build your character, and it certainly doesn't bring success. But wishing you were better. Now that's different. Wishing you were better, that's something you can act on. That's something you can work on. That's something you can control. And that's the price of success. It's not about wishing for the perfect circumstances or the easy path. It's about deciding to improve yourself, to grow, to face the challenges head on, and to keep moving forward when others would stop. Because in the end, success isn't about avoiding the price, it's about being willing to pay it. And if you're willing, the rewards are worth it. Always be asking yourself, how can I improve? How can I become stronger, wiser, more capable? That's the starting point. It's about taking responsibility, even when it would be so much easier to blame someone else, blame your boss, your circumstances, the economy, anything but yourself. But here's the truth. When you take responsibility, you take control. And when you take control, you stop waiting for life to change and you start working on yourself. And as you grow, as you develop, as you improve, success begins to find you. It's attracted to the person you're becoming. Now let's talk about something important. The role of consistency in success. Doing something once or twice. That's easy. But doing it every day, That's where the real challenge is. Think of it like building a house. You don't lay a foundation one day and expect a mansion to appear the next. No, it's brick by brick, day by day, effort by effort. And some days progress is slow. Some days it feels like nothing is happening. But every brick you lay brings you closer to your goal. That's what success is. It's the sum of small efforts, repeated over time. Consistency builds character. Consistency builds discipline. And over time, that consistency compounds. It grows. It multiplies. They say Rome wasn't built in a day. Neither is success. It's built over time, with patience, with persistence, with a willingness to keep going, especially when it's hard. Here's the beautiful thing. As you keep going, as you keep showing up and working on yourself, the journey itself becomes rewarding. You start to enjoy the process. You take pride in every step forward, no matter how small. And then one day when you reach your goal, you realize something extraordinary. You realize it wasn't just about the destination. It was about the person you became along the way. Now, let's not forget the setbacks, because they're going to come. They come for all of us. There's no such thing as a smooth road to success. When those setbacks come, and trust me, they will, they're going to test you. They'll make you question everything. They'll make you wonder, is this even worth it? And in those moments, you'll have a choice to make. You can give up, or you can keep going. Because here's the truth. Setbacks aren't the end of the road. They're part of the journey. They're the test that asks, how much do you really want this? And if you keep going, if you keep showing up, if you stay consistent, you'll come out the other side stronger, wiser, and more capable. That's how success is built. One brick at a time, one step at a time, one day at a time. Here's what I've learned about success. The people who make it to the top aren't always the smartest, the strongest, or even the most talented. No, the ones who succeed are the ones who simply refuse to give up. They're the ones who say, this is hard, but I'm not going to let it stop me. I'll find a way through. The thing about success is this. It often lies just beyond the point where most people quit. Right when things feel toughest, when you're staring at that wall and wondering if you can go on, that's often where the breakthrough is waiting. But you'll never know that if you stop. Success is often sitting just on the other side of your own resistance, your own fears, your own doubts. I want you to picture it like a treasure buried beneath layers of challenge. And each layer you dig through brings you closer. But here's the key. You have to be willing to dig. You have to be willing to endure the blisters, the calluses, the fatigue. Because if you stop digging halfway through, if you pack up your tools and go home, you'll never know how close you were to finding the treasure. And isn't that a tragic thought? To invest so much, to come so far, only to stop just short of the finish line. Here's a principle I want you to remember. Success doesn't belong to those who start the fastest. It belongs to those who keep going the longest. It's not about speed, it's about stamina. That's why perseverance is such a critical part of the price of success. Perseverance means pushing past the pain, past the boredom, past those moments when it feels like nothing is happening. And I'll tell you, those moments are tough. It's easy to get discouraged when you're putting in the work and not seeing the results. But let me remind you of something. Seeds grow underground before they ever break through the soil. You plant them, you water them, and for a while you see nothing. But beneath the surface, the roots are taking hold. The foundation is being built. And that's how success works too. Just because you don't see it yet doesn't mean it's not happening. Just because the results aren't visible doesn't mean the effort isn't paying off. When I look back on my life, on those moments when I was closest to giving up, I realized something powerful. Every one of those moments was a test. A test of my will, my belief, and my commitment. And every time I decided to push through instead of giving in, I came out stronger on the other side. That strength, that's part of the price we pay for success. And let me tell you, it's not handed out freely, it's earned. Earned by facing what's difficult, what's uncomfortable, what we'd rather avoid. But here's the beauty of it. As we push through those challenges, we discover our true potential. We find out just what we're capable of. And let me tell you, that discovery, it's worth every ounce of effort. Now let's talk about the kind of person you must become to achieve success. Because success doesn't happen by accident. It demands a certain kind of mindset, a certain kind of attitude. It calls for positivity, for optimism, and most importantly, for belief in yourself. And sometimes that's the hardest part, believing in yourself when no one else does. But here's the secret. Your belief in yourself is the fuel that will keep you going when the road gets rough. And trust me, the road will get rough. People will criticize you, they'll doubt you. Sometimes even the people closest to you, your friends, your family, won't understand what you're trying to do. That's when you have to dig deep. You have to remind yourself of why you started in the first place. Ask yourself, why do I want success? Why does it matter to me? What will it bring me that nothing else can? Because the answer to those questions, that's your why. And your why is the thing that will keep you going when the challenges pile up, when your reason is clear, when your why is powerful. There's no obstacle big enough to stop you. But if your reason is weak, if you're chasing success just for the sake of it, then the first real challenge will knock you down. Here's another thing to remember. Success isn't just about what you achieve. It's about what you contribute. True success is about adding value. It's about making a difference. It's about leaving a mark that goes beyond yourself. If your only goal is to get rich or gain fame, then your success is hollow. But if your goal is to make an impact, to help others, to lift people up, then your success has meaning. And that meaning, that's what makes the journey worthwhile. Because success that serves others, that uplifts others, that's the kind of success that lasts. Now, I'll tell you something else. A lot of people think success is a solitary journey. And yes, there are parts of it that are you have to do the work, you have to make the sacrifices. No one can do that for you. But that doesn't mean you can't have support along the way. Success may require your effort, but it doesn't mean you have to walk the road alone. One of the great lessons I've learned is this. Find mentors. Find people who believe in you, who encourage you, who remind you of your potential when you start to forget. Because we all have those moments when the doubts creep in, when the path feels too steep. And in those moments, a kind word, a little nudge from the right person can make all the difference. Surround yourself with people who are on their own journey to success, people who understand the price and are willing to pay it. Their example will inspire you. Their stories will motivate you. Their friendship will give you strength. But here's an important warning. Be careful about the company you keep. Not everyone will support your dreams. Not everyone will understand your vision. And some people, for whatever reason, will try to pull you down. Maybe they're afraid of change. Maybe your ambition reminds them of their own lack of effort. Whatever the reason, they'll try to tell you to stop, to settle, to give up. Be wise enough to distance yourself from those negative voices. Those who discourage you, who tell you it's not worth it, who say you're aiming too high, those voices, if you listen to them, will drain your energy, weaken your resolve, and make the price of success seem unbearable. Now, the act of commitment. When you decide, really decide that you're going to achieve something, it changes everything. It shifts your focus. It shifts your energy. It shifts your entire approach to life. Here's the interesting thing. Once you truly commit, once you decide to pay the price, you start to see opportunities where there were none before. Ideas come to you. Solutions appear. People show up who can help you. But none of that happens until you make the decision. Until you say, I'm all in. That's the power of commitment. And let me tell you what commitment really means. It means quitting is no longer an option. It means burning the boats, so there's no way out but forward. You see, if you leave yourself an escape route, you'll always be tempted to take it when things get tough. But when you fully commit, when you tell yourself there's no turning back, you'll find a way to make it work. You'll find strength within yourself that you didn't know was there. And that strength, That's part of the price of success too. Now, success requires the willingness to fail. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would I want to fail? But hear me out. Failure isn't something to fear. It's one of the greatest teachers life has to offer. Failure shines a light on what's not working. It exposes the gaps, the weaknesses, and the areas where you need to improve. And most importantly, failure builds resilience, the strength to keep going when things don't go your way. Every time you experience failure, you're faced with a choice. You can let it knock you down, or you can let it lift you up. You can use it as an excuse to quit, or you can use it as fuel to grow. And here's the key. The people who succeed aren't the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who learn from it. They see failure not as a dead end, but as a stepping stone to the next level. Think about a baby learning to walk. What do? They fall. Over and over they fall. But do they ever stay down? No. They get back up, they try again, they keep going until they get it right. That's the attitude we need in life. If you want to succeed, you have to be willing to stumble, to make mistakes, and yes, even to look a little foolish at times. Because every failure, every misstep brings you closer to success. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the process. It's part of the journey. And here's the truth. The only way to avoid failure is to avoid trying. But if you avoid trying, you're also avoiding success. Now, let's talk about something equally important. The mindset of abundance. What's an abundance mindset? It's the belief that there's more than enough success to go around. That someone else's win doesn't take away from your chance to win. With an abundance mindset, you're not afraid to share what you know, to help others succeed, to cheer for their victories. And here's the beauty of it. When you give, when you lift others up, you create an environment where success thrives. People want to help you, support you, and see you win. But what happens when you have a scarcity mindset? You become guarded, jealous, afraid of competition. And that fear, it'll keep you stuck. It'll block your growth and close the door to opportunity. Success requires confidence. Confidence that there's plenty of success to go around. Confidence that helping others doesn't take away from your own success. Confidence that you have something unique, something valuable to bring to the table. And when you carry that kind of confidence, you attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right energy. Now, how do you define success? Is it money? Is it fame? Is it fame? Is it power? Now, those things might be part of the equation, but let me tell you, they're not the whole picture. True success, the kind that lasts, the kind that truly satisfies, comes down to one word: fulfillment. It's about knowing that you've lived up to your potential, that you've done something meaningful, that you've made a difference. Because when it's all said and done, when the dust settles and you look back on your life, it won't be the money in the bank, the trophies on the shelf, or the applause of the crowd that truly matters. No. What will matter is the impact you've made, the lives you've touched, and the legacy you've left behind. And that is the real price of success. It's not just about what you get, it's about what you're willing to give. It's about leaving the world a little better than you found it. It's about going beyond yourself, beyond your own wants and needs, and finding ways to serve others. And here's the paradox. You ready for this? When you focus on giving, on serving, on contributing, success finds you. It's one of life's great mysteries. The more you give, the more you receive. The more you help others, the more you grow. And before you know it, success shows up not just in what you have, but in who you become. But make no mistake, success has a price. It requires commitment. It requires discipline. It demands sacrifice. It asks you to keep going when everyone else stops. It pushes you to learn from failure, to stay humble when you succeed, and to turn around and lend a helping hand to someone else on the path. It's not easy. It's not quick, but is it worth it? Absolutely. Because success isn't just about reaching the goal. It's about the person you become in the process. And that is a price worth paying. Now, life has a funny way of pulling us in 100 directions all at once. Work pulls on you, family pulls on you, friends, commitments, responsibilities, they all want a piece of you. And don't get me wrong, there's great value in showing up for others and giving your time, your energy, your support. But here's the danger. If you're always giving, always pouring into others, and you never take the time to replenish yourself, one day you're going to look up and realize something, you're empty. You've given so much, but you forgot to keep enough for you. And that's no way to live. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't give your best to others if you're not at your best. And so part of success, real success, is learning to balance. It's learning to serve others, yes, but also to take care of yourself, to refuel, to reconnect with who you are, what you want, and what matters most. Because when you do that, when you live with purpose, when you give generously, but also take the time to nurture yourself, that's when life starts to feel fulfilling. That's when success becomes more than just a word. It becomes your way of being. Now, focusing on yourself is not selfish. It's essential. It's necessary. It's the foundation for your well-being, your growth, and your happiness. If you're always pouring from your cup into others, but never taking the time to refill it, one day you'll look down and find that cup empty. And you can't give your best to anyone when you're running on empty. Now, what does that mean? It means stepping back and taking an honest look at where you are, what you want, and what you need. It means giving yourself the same care, the same attention, and the same energy that you so freely give to everyone else. And it starts with a decision to prioritize yourself, to look in the mirror and say, I'm worth the time, I'm worth the effort, I'm worth the care. Here's where it begins. Get clear on your values. Most people don't take the time to ask themselves what truly matters to them. They're too busy doing what they think they should be doing, following a script handed to them by society, family, or circumstances. They're climbing ladders only to find that the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. But let me tell you something, if you don't know what you value, you can't build a life that reflects those values. You'll end up living someone else's version of success. And let me promise you this, living someone else's life is a guaranteed recipe for dissatisfaction. So take some time, reflect, ask yourself, what's important to me? What do I care about? And don't filter your answers. Be honest. Maybe you've spent years working a job that pays the bills but doesn't fulfill you. Maybe you've spent so much time taking care of everyone else that you forgot to take care of yourself. It happens. But now it's time to consider you. Because if you're not living in alignment with your values, you'll always feel like something is missing. You'll carry around that nagging feeling that there's more, something deeper, something richer, something more meaningful. Once you're clear about your values, here's the next step. Set boundaries. Boundaries protect your time. Boundaries protect your energy. Boundaries protect your peace of mind. They're a way of saying, this is what I will accept. This is what I will not. Now, the people who truly care about you, the ones who want the best for you, they'll respect your boundaries. They'll understand that when you set a limit, you're not pushing them away. You're simply taking care of yourself. But here's where most people struggle. They feel guilty. They think saying no is wrong. They worry about letting someone down. But let me tell you something. If you're saying yes to everyone else, you're probably saying no to yourself. And there's a cost to that. Every time you put yourself second, every time you allow someone to cross a line that shouldn't be crossed, you chip away at your self-respect. You chip away at your peace of mind. Boundaries are a form of self-respect. They're a way of honoring what matters to you, a way of protecting your values and your energy. So don't be afraid to set them. Don't feel guilty about it. And don't apologize for it. Because when you take care of yourself, when you focus on your growth, your happiness, and your well-being, something powerful happens. You show up better for others. You give from a place of strength, not depletion. And that's how you create a life that's fulfilling, meaningful, and full of purpose. Focusing on yourself also means making time for the things that nourish you. And I'm not just talking about the basics of self-care, though those are important. Yes, it's critical to get enough rest. Yes, it's vital to eat well and exercise. But beyond that, let's talk about what truly feeds your spirit. What brings you joy? What makes you feel alive? For some, it's reading a great book. For others, it's walking in nature, traveling, learning something new, or simply sitting quietly with your thoughts. Maybe it's a creative hobby that you've been putting off for years. Whatever it is, these aren't luxuries, they're essential. They're fuel for your soul. Because life isn't meant to be all work and no play. If you're always running, always grinding, always doing, you're missing something important. Take time to pause. Take time to breathe, to relax, to recharge. You'll find that when you take care of your own needs, something remarkable happens. You have more to give. You show up for others with more energy, more patience, and yes, more joy. It's just like the oxygen mask rule on a plane. Put on your own mask first. You can't help anyone else if you're gasping for air. Next is feeding your mind. What you read, what you watch, what you listen to. These things shape you whether you realize it or not. If you're filling your mental space with negativity, with gossip, with complaints, it's going to drain you. It's going to weigh you down. Instead, surround yourself with ideas that challenge you, that inspire you, that push you to grow. Seek out conversations and influences that lift you up, that spark your imagination, that give you a sense of possibility. You'll find that when you feed your mind with positivity, with wisdom, and with encouragement, your entire outlook changes. Another powerful way to focus on yourself is through the habit of self-reflection. Take a few minutes each day just for you. Ask yourself, how am I feeling today? What am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? What did I accomplish? These small moments of reflection are where growth begins. It's in these moments that you start to understand yourself better, your thoughts, your emotions, your habits. You start to see where you're thriving and where you might need to grow. Self-reflection gives you clarity, and clarity is a powerful thing. And here's the big one: taking responsibility for your life. Now, let me tell you, this isn't always easy. It's tempting. Oh, it's tempting to blame others, to blame the circumstances, to point the finger somewhere else. I'm not happy because of them. I can't get ahead because of this situation. But here's the truth. When you shift the responsibility onto someone else, you give away your power. You're handing over control of your life. But when you take full responsibility, when you say, this is my life and I'm in charge of it, everything changes. You put the control back in your hands. You take ownership of your choices, your actions, and your happiness. And that is a powerful place to be. Because when you own it, you can change it. When you take responsibility, you open the door to possibility, to growth, and to the life you truly want. Sometimes people ask me, but what about other people's expectations? What about their needs? And I get it. It's a good question. Of course, it's important to care about others, to support them. But here's the thing. When you start focusing on yourself, you realize something powerful. You can't control what other people expect of you. You can't control their needs, their opinions, or their reactions. What you can control is how you show up. You can control the boundaries you set, the choices you make, and the way you live your life. It's not your job to live up to everyone else's expectations. Let me say that again. It's not your job to live up to everyone else's expectations. Your job is to live up to your own. Now, part of focusing on yourself means learning to embrace your own strengths and weaknesses. You see, it's too easy to get caught up in what we think we're missing. We compare ourselves to others and we come up short. But when you shift your focus inward, everything changes. You start to see your own strengths, your own unique gifts. You begin to recognize what you bring to the table. And yes, you'll also see areas where there's room to grow. But now it's not about measuring yourself against someone else's standard. It's about measuring yourself against your own potential. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. And here's something else to keep in mind. Focusing on yourself is not a one-time event. It's not a finish line you cross. It's a journey, a continual process of self-discovery, of growth, of learning. As you grow, your goals, your needs, your desires, they'll evolve. And that's not just okay, it's necessary. Focusing on yourself means checking in regularly, asking yourself, am I still on the path that feels right for me? It means being willing to adapt, to pivot, to realign when needed. And when you take the time to focus on yourself, something extraordinary happens. You become more centered, more at peace, more grounded. And because of that, you're able to show up for others in a much more meaningful way. You're no longer giving out of obligation, exhaustion, or guilt. Instead, you're giving from a place of wholeness, of abundance, of strength. Now, here's a key point people often miss when it comes to focusing on yourself: patience. Personal growth doesn't happen overnight. The changes you want, the progress you seek, it takes time. And we live in a world that screams for instant results. Fast progress, quick fixes, but that's not how meaningful, lasting change works. Think of it like planting a garden. You don't plant seeds today and wake up to a full bloom tomorrow. No, you water those seeds. You give them sunlight. You nurture them. And most importantly, you trust the process. You know that in time, the flowers will bloom. Your personal growth works the same way. It takes patience, persistence, and trust in your journey. Some of the best parts of life, the most rewarding changes, unfold slowly over time. And that patience becomes a part of your character. It makes you stronger, more resilient, more understanding. And as you focus on yourself, let me give you a critical piece of advice. Be kind to yourself. Too often, people are their own worst critics. They focus on their flaws, their failures, their mistakes. They beat themselves up over things that didn't go perfectly. But let me tell you something. Personal growth isn't about perfection. It's about progress. You have to forgive yourself for the past, let go of the regrets, the should-haves, the if only. You wouldn't tear down a friend who's trying to improve, would you? So why do it to yourself? Treat yourself with the same compassion, the same understanding, the same kindness you'd give to someone you care about. Remind yourself that you're a work in progress, and that's okay. We all are. Next is building habits. Now that's one of the cornerstones of focusing on yourself. Habits shape our lives, one small action at a time. Think about it. Who you are today is largely the result of the habits you've been practicing, consciously or unconsciously. And when you decide to focus on yourself, you're making a deliberate choice to build habits that serve you, habits that align with your values, your goals, and the vision you have for your life. Maybe it's the habit of waking up early to carve out some quiet time for reflection, or reading a few pages of a book each day to expand your mind. Maybe it's exercising, journaling, or taking a moment to plan your day before you dive in. Whatever it is, remember this. Small habits build a strong foundation, because over time they become automatic. They don't require you to wake up every day and wrestle with your willpower. They work quietly in the background, creating momentum, keeping you on track, even when life gets hectic. Here's the key. Start small. Focus on just one habit that aligns with the person you want to become. Maybe it's drinking a glass of water every morning or setting aside 5 minutes for gratitude. Start small, stay consistent, and watch how that one habit grows into something transformative. Over time, those little habits add up to big results. But let me tell you, focusing on yourself isn't always easy. As you go deeper into this journey, you might find yourself at a crossroads. You'll need to make some tough decisions about the people, situations, or routines that no longer serve you. It's not easy to let go of something that's been a part of your life, even if you know it's holding you back. But here's the truth. When you let go of what no longer fits, you're making space for something better. You're clearing the path for a life that aligns with your true self. And yes, sometimes this process can feel lonely. But don't mistake solitude for emptiness. Solitude can be a gift. It's in those quiet moments, free from distractions, that you get to know yourself better. You start to hear your own voice, your own desires, your own dreams. Now, let's talk about another critical part of focusing on yourself. Lifelong learning. One of the best things you can do for yourself is to stay curious. Commit to growing. The world is full of opportunities to learn, skills to develop, knowledge to gain, experiences to embrace. This isn't about collecting degrees or chasing formal education. No, it's about cultivating a mindset of discovery, a willingness to explore new ideas, and a drive to expand your understanding of the world. Lifelong learning keeps you engaged, keeps you growing, and keeps you excited about what's next. And here's an important reminder. Celebrate your wins along the way. Focusing on yourself isn't just about hard work and effort, it's also about acknowledging your progress. Every small step forward matters. Maybe you set a boundary you've been avoiding, or you stuck with a new habit for a week. Celebrate that. Recognize your growth. Let yourself feel proud, even of the little victories, because those wins keep you motivated. They remind you that this journey is worth it. At its core, focusing on yourself is about building a relationship with yourself. Think about the effort you put into your relationships with others, the care, the attention, the time. Now ask yourself, are you giving that same effort to the relationship you have with yourself? When you focus on yourself, you're learning to love, respect, and trust who you are. You're building confidence in your own worth. And as that relationship with yourself grows, it becomes a source of strength, peace, and clarity. In the end, focusing on yourself is about making a commitment to live a life that's true to you. It's about choosing authenticity over approval, integrity over convenience, and self-respect over self-neglect. And here's the best part. When you live fully, freely, and purposefully, you inspire others to do the same. Your growth becomes a light for those around you.